Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Come spend some time with me today. I got a few little things going on. I'm finally getting around to making my chow chow, my habaneros. I've got some ripe ones, so that's what I've been waiting on. So we're gonna make some chow chow today. I want to make some of my Cowboy candy pickled eggs. They are the bomb. Some of our favorite pickled eggs. So I can't wait to show y'all that. And this and that around the farm. So the first thing I'm going to do this morning is we've actually weaned the 2 black calves. We was going to wean all 3, but little Missy right here gave us the slip. So I've got them over at my neighbor's place. I'm fixing to ride over there and go check on them this morning. Get out a bale of hay for my cows to have on that backside. Watch out. Go on. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Get out the way. This is not like your rolls of hay. Everybody got hay now. Ooh, I got to come spray out again. Now that all that's done, time to get to making our chow chow. I gotta go gather all my ingredients. Got everything picked. So let's go over the recipe real quick on what you're gonna need. Cabbage head. I got a big one. I'm pretty sure it's partly frozen, which was totally expected from that refrigerator out in my building. It happens. I have plenty more to choose from out there. If you remember from my cabbage harvest, I've used a few, but we had an excellent cabbage harvest early summer, late spring. So I've saved all that. But anyways, cabbage head, about 15 peppers-ish. And you choose whether you want all sweet peppers, a few hot peppers, so on and so forth. You know, this is a very forgiving recipe. It's more of a guideline even than an actual recipe. Enough onions to make about 4 cups of chopped onions. And is that all I picked? I believe that's all. Oh, and about 5, 6 green tomatoes, about 4 cups worth again. And I like to throw a couple red ones in there too, just to give it a little color. Again, this recipe is more of a guideline than an actual, you got to do it this way. Just use what you got. That's what I love about the chow chow. And it turns out great every time. May not taste exactly the same every single year, depending on how the garden does, how good the peppers do, which peppers are doing really good. Right, I know y'all heard that cow mooing like the whole time I was out there. So where the calves are through the woods a good little ways, but not quite far enough away that they can't hear each other mooing at each other in the distance. And so they're still kind of upset. But Candy seemed okay after I milked her yesterday. So she's probably a little uncomfortable because the baby is not drinking anymore, which I will slowly start drying her off, but milking a little in between. So let's see how bad this cabbage head looks, because I have not unwrapped it since I wrapped it up in the spring. Like I said, I know, yep, that it froze. I used a frozen one last year for my chow chow, and it turned out fabulous. So that's what we're gonna do today too. Now some of these outer leaves are gonna come off. Boy, froze it good. It's an old refrigerator, and it's bad to do that in the summertime. But like I said, I used frozen cabbage last year, and I know it wasn't the frozen cabbage that made this, but it was the best chow chow I think I ever made. But I think because it's pickled, the frozenness of it don't much matter. Use fresh cabbage if you got it. Just all my stuff don't come in at the same time, and so, you know, it's kind of hard to have peppers and cabbage at the same time unless you plant cabbage like now and hope to goodness your peppers hang on until the cabbage comes back in. That's the only way I know you do it. My spring cabbage always does way better than my fall cabbage. Maybe I'll be wrong this year though. And if you like big chunks of vegetables in your chow chow, that's cool. Make it the way you want it, and that's all I do. I make it the way we like it. I make it the texture we like it. What I'm looking for though is I want at least the whole bottom of whatever pan I'm using to at least be full of cabbage. Cabbage is our main ingredient here. I cannot believe it froze like that. I wonder if they're all froze all the way through like that. Probably. Now, where I always used to eat chow chow was my great aunt's house. Her house, you know, back in the day, and I wish it was still like this, but back in the day, you'd always meet at somebody's house on Sunday. And our meeting place was always at my great aunt's house. That was my granny's sister. And she cooked the best anything you could ever want to eat. And made the best chow chow you ever put in your mouth. But she didn't have a recipe for it. She said, I don't know how to make it, I just do. And so my goal in all of my chow chow making years was for it to taste like Patsy's. And I've just been slowly changing and adjusting, and I think I finally got it. There should be plenty of cabbage there. Andy, he's usually home today, but we've had all this rain and everything. He mowed until dark last night. It was like 8:30 when he got home, and left out again first thing this morning. Trying to get his work done. So it means y'all probably got to put up with me at least most of this video. These are the onions y'all saw us harvest here a while back. I've been keeping them in the greenhouse because I was questionable if they was even going to keep or not. And rotten onions stink to high heaven, and I did not want them in my house stinking. So, the red ones that kept okay. Yellow ones didn't really keep at all. I think 99% of them yellow ones are rotten. And the white ones kept the best. Most of the white ones have kept well, and they're okay. Not great, because I think we waited too long to get them up. That was our fault. But the white ones get better than any of them anyway. This is the part I always struggle with. I can never judge how many onions I need for 4 cups of onions. Never. Now this chow chow is kind of a sweet, hot chow chow. Well, it's hot if you want it to be hot. I should say that. Depends on the pepper you put in. I mean, that's literally what it comes down to. Is it all depends on what kind of peppers you use as to how hot it is. So if you want it hot, put hot peppers in it. If you don't, do all sweet peppers. It'll be, it's almost like it's a really sweet relish. Yeah, something I was actually thinking about last night, you know. I know y'all run into these people in life that look at you and say, they see you've been maybe a little successful. I'm not saying we've been super successful or anything like that. We've worked hard in our life. And I was thinking about last night when Andy was gone so long, and those people that look at you and say, you know what, it must be nice when they saw Andy buy his new tractor, or we just bought that land up the road, you know, it must be nice. Because all they see is the end result. That's all they see. They didn't see him busting his butt last night till after 8 o'clock. Everything you see around here, we worked for every single bit of it. And that brings me to tears, because we did. We worked hard, but we've been blessed. So before you look at somebody and say, it must be nice, realize that there's probably a lot in the background that you don't see how they got to where they are. Success is not made overnight most of the time. How many do we have? Did I get close to 4 cups? If I'm close to 4 cups, I'm not going back down there. I'm pretty close. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is get our green tomatoes in there. Let's get that little top off of it. We're going to want around 4 cups. Alright, pretty close to 4 cups anyway. We're going to put them red ones in there anyway, so that'll make up for part of that volume. Now, Chow Chow is one of those things that me personally, I could just eat it straight out the jar. I love some good Chow Chow. Now, you run across some that ain't so good that you can buy from the store and stuff. I'm not saying all the store-bought ones are bad. I don't mean that. But they're good and bad. Not terrible, but not great. This, though, is, in fact, great. And I kind of figure Chow Chow is one of those things. You either love it or you don't. There's probably no in between. I happen to love it. So these are tomatoes that look like they had just turned. You know, they're not super ripe or anything, but it's going to give us some color. Get that bad spot off of that one. But I'm not peeling them or nothing like that. Right. Those chopped up. Good enough. Alright, now to our peppers. So I'm going to get all my peppers chopped up. I'm not going to bore y'all with that. And then I'll show you our next step. Alright, last but not least, our hot peppers. Don't breathe. Took my breath. when you're messing with hot peppers like jalapeños or habaneros, it's good practice to wear gloves. Don't think you're too tough to wear gloves, because I used to think that, and I learned my lesson the hard way. So, don't be like Megan and learn your lesson the hard way. I feel like sometimes I learn all my lessons the hard way, but we're learning lessons all the same. This is easiest to do with your hands. You can use a spoon if you want, but where my pan is like filled to the top, I feel like if I were to put a spoon to this, I would just sling it everywhere. So, hands it is. And I'll probably still sling it everywhere. This makes excellent Christmas gifts. So, if you make excess, that's always an option. That's what I like to do with a lot of my extra stuff. Let's give it as Christmas presents. Alright, that's pretty mixed up. It ain't gotta be perfect. You just want it all mixed up, kinda. So then I'm gonna flatten it out. Like that. Alright, for right now, the last step is gonna be, we've got a 1/2 cup of cannon salt. Plain salt, ever what you got. I've got plain salt. It's Redmond's real salt. Plain salt, cannon salt. We're going to do a 1/2 cup and we're going to evenly sprinkle it over the top. Ideally, we'll let this sit till we get our other tasks done today, and towards the end of the evening, we'll get this canned up. So now we're going to make one of our favorites, Cowboy candy pickled eggs. The first thing we're going to start off with is a cup of apple cider vinegar. So a lot of people will look at this recipe and say, ooh, you know, because it does got some sugar in it and some odd ingredients that may seem like go in eggs, but they are so good, y'all. We're going to add a 1/2 cup of white sugar, a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, a little cayenne pepper, just a little sprinkle in there. And we're going to let that come up to a boil and then back down to a simmer till our sugar melts. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and cut these jalapeños up because it is going to have a few jalapeños in it. This is going to be just like you're making Cowboy candy, except you put eggs in it. And if you don't know what Cowboy candy is, it's candied jalapeños. Candied, pickled, I guess you'd say, jalapeños. So of course, if you were turning this into a true Cowboy candy recipe, you would cut up more jalapeños than this. But I just need a few to give me some flavor to my eggs. Now, I make pickled eggs all kind of ways, but we like these. I also make them with beets. You can find a video on that. You can find, sometimes I make just a plain old generic pickled egg recipe that are delicious. Got a video on that one too. But this, honestly, this is our favorite. I'm gonna put my peppers in my jar. I'm only making a quart today. I think that's all I had enough of the small eggs for. I like to save, I've got one chicken that lays smaller eggs, and I like to save those for my pickled eggs. And I just have a few of them, but I wanted to make this. Hadn't made this one in a while. My sugar is dissolved. Now, I had to do a little adjusting on just, I did make these the first few times with just the plain old Cowboy candy recipe. Didn't quite do it for me, so I'll show you what we'll do next. Now, I want my mixture to only be about 3/4 of the way up. We're going to top it off with white vinegar. There is no exact measurement for this part right here. I just found this is what works for me and the way I like the eggs to taste. We'll stick a lid on here. We're not canning these. I keep my pickled eggs in the fridge. Whether you can yours or you don't, that's all up to you. And I would give these at least a couple weeks before you try them. So in the fridge they go to sit and get good and pickled and be ready to eat. See your friends.
Well, I ended up coming in from work kind of early today, which is the first day in a while. We managed to get Chocolate loaded up so we can take her over to the other pasture where the other two calves are. And
it went very easy, so I hope that's not a bad thing.
It went amazingly easy. So
either she really missed her friends or something's gonna happen.
So unfortunately we didn't catch none of it on camera because it's actually raining, and we thought it was going to be raining quite a bit harder than this, but when she went up and we got all the other cows out of there, it was kind of like one of those situations like we need to move on. We were kind of scared to set a tripod up, being that it might rain, and well, it's just a light rain, but I think we've actually missed this shower. I think they're happy to be reunited. Where's the other one at?
Yeah, I see it's right there.
Look. Come on.
Come on, buddy.
I see. I mean, I hear him, but I don't see him.
They're hard to see with it. Come on, I brought the food.
Oh, I see him. He's way up there.
I wonder where Chocolate's going. That's where they went when we first brought them over here.
I know.
I don't know why they think they should go that way.
Oh no, you think she'd be running with her friends, wouldn't you?
She's just
Checking it out.
the two girls are back together over there. Coming across the hill. You sound awful.
I've never heard such a noise. Look, he's getting happy now. He sees him coming. That's all he wanted. He's like, just come down here, y'all.
And he got in a bee's nest. You can see where he had the whelps.
Yeah, that poor thing got eat up with some bees.
Which is getting better now. Come on. Come on, Duchess.
Well, they have calmed down quite a bit in the last few minutes.
Oh, yeah, it didn't take them but just a minute. They was just excited to see her, I think.
I think so, too.
Did you call them all together, the three amigos?
Yep, the three amigos out there. Look at them going across that pasture. I think they're happy to be reunited. And I wonder if that ain't why she went on the trailer so easy. She was kind of maybe anticipating this was where she was going.
Maybe so. She's like, I miss my friends.
Looks like it might rain. Try to rain again.
Yeah. Yeah, we live in a tropical rainforest now, don't you know?
These days we do. All right. Well, let's go back to the house.
All right. Here we are. It's actually the next day. I ran out of time yesterday evening and did not get to can my Chow Chow. It's totally fine. It's one of those kind of things. You figure out what's got to be done right then and what can wait a little bit. And well, originally I didn't think my Chow Chow was going to get to sit long enough, and now it's set plenty of time. So, let's get this stuff canned, y'all. We got to go ahead. We're going to make our brine. I wonder if this pot's going to be big enough. I may have to use my big pot. Get my big pot out. Change of plans. I need my big pot. So, first thing we're going to start off with, I need 2 cups of water. 2 cups of water. 4 cups of vinegar. Now, this is the way, like I said yesterday, this is the way we like it. I like the sweetness of it. But, this recipe, like I said, it's a guideline. So, I've never tried it with no sugar. But, if that's the way you want to try it, try it. You know, experiment. That's what I did through the years to get it the way we enjoy it. So now we're going to go ahead and pour in our vegetable mixture that we made yesterday. Now we pour it in, salt, the juices, pour it all in there. And I have found it's easier to start off by scooping. Then once it gets a little less full, then we can pour it. Ask me how I know. All combined. Alright, so we've been simmering for a good while now, so ready to get this in our jars. This is a pickled mixture, so I do it just like I do pickles, like y'all saw me do pickles. But you want it good and hot, and you want juice and relish all to go in there. And once you get to the top, you want to make sure you got enough of that juice that's covering the solid parts. Ain't that pretty? Boy, that's so pretty. I love Chow Chow. I love the smell of it, the taste of it. All of the above. I don't know how much I'm going to have, but I'm going to say this will probably be the only batch I need this year. There's a lot of different relishes that I've learned about through the years, especially since I've been making the YouTube videos, that, you know, most of any of these garden fresh relishes come from years ago when people were using up what was left in their garden. They just threw it all together and pickled it and ate it with stuff. I get a lot of questions, especially when I do canning this way, is why do I turn my jars upside down? And that's a great question, and the answer that I have for you is that's the way I was taught. And, you know, it keeps your lid hot, but it is not a recommended method, so make sure you're following USDA guidelines. Do as I say, not as I do. But I feel comfortable canning this way for my family, and that's kind of what it boils down to, is what you feel comfortable doing in your kitchen. I think Chow Chow is one of my most favorite things to make every year. Not only because I enjoy the taste of it, but it's like nostalgia, I guess you would say. You know, we all have a certain smell or a certain sight or a certain sound that takes us back to a different time in life. And that smell is kind of one of those things for me. Takes me back to a time in life I'll never go to again. Heck, the old house I used to even go to, it ain't even there no more. But brings back a lot of good memories. Alright, so I ended up making 6 pints, 4 jelly jars, and a quart, and just a little piece of that quart. So that's pretty good, and that's probably all I'll make this season. In years past, I have got really carried away and just made so much that I still occasionally open a jar from one of those years, and because it keeps really good. And so I try to make just enough to give us a few gifts and eat on. That way, by this time next year, I'll be ready for some more. But I want to try it and see what it tastes like. And of course, it's one of those things, the longer it sits, the better it's going to get. But let's give it a try. It's perfect. Just enough sweet and just enough heat. But it is perfect. Texture's just right. But anyways, guys, I guess that's going to about do it for today's video. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Hope you might learn a little something. Let me know if you decide to make you some Chow Chow. And anyways, guys, till we see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good one.